observation that I'm making, which happens to me each time in the ministry, where by virtue of the fact that I'm a woman Minister of Defense, and most of the officers are having this first experience of having a woman Minister of Defense. So every time they refer to me, it's always Minister of Defense, sir. But I'm used to it. It just happened. And every day I correct them. So it has become part of my life. So I'm a sir. Refer to me as a sir. We had invited ministers. Apparently, they all sent their apologies. It was a late invitation, apparently. Let me begin by acknowledging the presence of the Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Harare Metropolitan Province, who is represented here by the Permanent Secretary, Comrade Chiringa. May I also acknowledge the presence of Deputy Minister of Defense, Honorable Maithome, Secretary for Ministry of Defense, Comrade Nepera, Comrade Nepera, because you referred me to say, see what is happening to me. And other secretaries present, excellencies, ambassadors, and other members of the diplomatic corps, the service chiefs that are in the room, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Defense, Honorable Ngulube, if he's around, and other members of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee, representatives of humanitarian demining organizations, Commander Defense Forces, General P.V. Sibanda, as represented by Inspector General, the Commander Zimbabwe National Army, Lieutenant General Sanya Twe, as represented by Chief of Staff, General Staff, Commander Air Force of Zimbabwe, Air Marshal Mjede, as represented by Director General Air Operations, representatives of victims of landmines, all protocol observed. Good morning. I deserve a better answer. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much. May we stand and observe a minute of silence in honor of those who lost their lives owing to this devastating, hideous feature of landmines. You may take your seats. I am indeed honored to be part of this auspicious occasion where we are commemorating the International Day for Mine Awareness and Victim assistance. The day 4th of April of each year was set aside by the United Nations General Assembly to raise awareness and also to mobilize assistance for demining projects. Regrettably, we are holding this belatedly due to other pressing engagements. This is an important day to us, given that at some point, Zimbabwe was among the top countries in the world that were heavily infested by landmines. And we just heard that at the beginning, what was the assessment then, confirmed that we had 310.66 kilometers land which was infested by these landmines. The minefields were planted by the colonial regime along our common border with Mozambique and Zambia in a bid to prevent infiltration by freedom fighters from their bases in neighboring countries. The commemorations will go a long way in showcasing the progress that Zimbabwe has so far registered in its demining operations, at the same time highlighting challenges that are being faced whilst exposing gaps that are still in existence in needy areas of cooperation as we execute our quest to be a mine-free zone. This year's International Day is being held under the theme Protecting Life and Building Peace, which reminds us of our obligations, not only of safeguarding those at risk of landmines, but also prioritizing those living with disabilities caused by landmines. As demonstrated through the testimony given by one of the victims of landmines, these landmines are a real danger both to human beings and also to wildlife. Living in the proximity of contaminated areas is a nightmare. It is like living in a war zone, more so for the miners who pay supreme sacrifice to clear some of these mine fields. Although the landmine scourge affects all of us in different ways, most vulnerable are women, children, the disabled, and the elderly, who live in fear day by day. Zimbabwe, like many countries across the world, has endured the devastating impact of landmines for far too long. The scars left behind by these insidious weapons are a stark reminder of the long-lasting consequences of conflicts and wars. Despite the challenges that we are facing, I'm proud to say that Zimbabwe has made significant strides in its mine action program. Our mine action program has been rated one of the best worldwide during the past 3 years. The program encompasses all the 5 pillars of mine action that include mine clearance, mine risk education, victim assistance, advocacy, and stockpile destruction. And due to limited resources, mine clearance was given priority over the other pillars. And this started in 1980 by government until the other donor countries came in we were funding those operations alone, and we continue to date. Guided by our mine action strategy, which is informed by international best practices, our dedicated mine action teams are working tirelessly to clear contaminated areas, educate communities on the risks caused by landmines, and assisting victims of mine-related accidents by providing them with all the necessary services to make